Hannah Martinez, and I am a former Cooking Matters instructor. My role was nutritionist.
I was the food runner for my group.
Yeah, so I was the nutritionist for the Cooking Matters class, the DHIC group.
I'm Cicely Kai Kai, and I was just a general volunteer for the Cooking Matters instructor.
I was a chef with DHIC.
I was the food runner, so I was in charge of going to the grocery store and getting all of our food and making sure it was there in the right proportions and bringing it to class.
I was the nutritionist for my Cooking Matters group.
Best advice I would give would be to, no matter what age you're teaching, everybody loves hands-on stuff.
Activities worked the best because, as in a kid's classroom, they're always talking to each other. It's kind of hard to get their attention. So when you do activities with them, they're able to talk to each other and still learn the material.
We're taking really complex ideas and making them really, really simple so that everyone can use them and everyone can understand them. So just take what you know and make it as simple as possible, and if you think it's simple, run it by a few people, and if they think it could be easier, go with that.
They loved working in teams and competition. So any way you can work in hands-on activities or competition, I think everybody enjoys that.
Maybe make a list of key points that you want to cover, because a lot of times you get into, discussions and then you run out of time.
I think that the nutritionist has the biggest role of being a teacher, since most of what they're talking about is more theoretical.
Feed off your team members, definitely. Just learn to work as a group. That's why you're there. You're teaching as a group. So definitely, not one person knows everything.
As a nutritionist, you should definitely prepare some talking points for all of your group members so they can also engage the students about nutrition.
Everybody's got their own nutrition device they can bring to the table. So everybody's got their own little ideas and stuff like that. So definitely bounce off each other during your teaching.
Go in there confident in your skills. So I don't think you have to be a chef per se to be the chef, but study it before you go to class, and that way I think it's important in your role for the participants to kind of see you as a chef or someone who's experienced, so they really want to learn from you.
Practice a lot. I feel like I didn't practice quite enough, even though I went over it by myself and then with my group before we even went in. I feel like I didn't really nail it until the final 2 weeks, and that was when I had the most practice and I was the most comfortable.
Just find ways to make all the knife safety skills entertaining so it actually sticks to them, like the claw and that sort of thing.
A couple times we had the gardener and I think the class manager go up with the chef and who pretended like they had no cutting experience so that they could also see what not to do.
I think it's really important for the chef to be very animated, maybe even things like, everybody hold up your knife, make sure we have that. I worked with kids, so that made the most sense for us.
Don't be afraid to deviate from the original plan if it makes the ending better.
It's definitely a good idea to do some prep work ahead of time, but you always want to make sure that you leave some stuff to demonstrate for the class when it comes to cutting the vegetables or whatever you're working on.
Whenever she was doing any kind of cooking demonstration or anything, she always made sure everybody could see, everybody got to participate.
I think the most important thing as a food runner is to understand how much food you're getting. That might sound silly, but it can get a little tricky.
I know the food runner, it was a really good idea for her to confirm what she was going to get for the lesson with all of us.
Something that was really important was the idea of our participants only being able to go to one store to get all that they needed. So even if it would be cheaper to go to multiple stores, keep in mind the mindset and the capabilities of your participants.
I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to either just think about, where might my participants be shopping, where would they be getting their food from, but also if you want to survey them or ask them in class, where do you shop? Do you shop at Food Lion? Do you shop at the corner store? Do you shop at Walmart? But definitely kind of avoid those Earth Fare, Whole Foods, Harris Teeter kind of things because they probably aren't shopping there.
I would say also you have the kind of prerogative to get fun things occasionally. So we had a little bit of extra leftover budget, and we were there during Halloween or fall season. So we bought extra oranges and made little pumpkin oranges with some of our extra money, which made the kids really happy.
Take that leadership role in your group, be that person that kind of brings everybody together.
I know Dr. G has probably pounded it into class managers' heads, but have a watch, keep a schedule.
And I also thought she did a great job always setting the tone. So she would start off our class and go over rules and things like that. And certainly at maybe the first 20 minutes of class, we were really hard about those rules and really had very high expectations for the kids. And then toward the end, we were able to have a little more fun.
The class manager, I think, just needs to be very involved with making sure everyone's respectful and listening.
Having the children create the rules in the beginning worked well, and we would go over them every week to say, here are the rules that we talked
For
about.
the class manager, I know they're always going to want to definitely observe everything that's going on in the classroom, but also when you're observing, think ahead to the next thing that's going to happen in class. So if the next thing that's going to happen in class is looking at a poster of My Plate, make sure that the class manager could be going around and getting that poster and making sure it's ready for the next part of the lesson.
Sure, so general things like have fun, work together, but I would say especially with kids is expect them to do great things. These are bright children. They can do a lot of things. They can cook everything. They can come with new recipes on their own. You can give them homework and then have them bring it back. I think just don't underestimate any of the participants. Have high expectations and they'll meet them.
Be able to adapt, because you never know what might be thrown at you, what you might have to do.
Learn and love to work as a team. It's like I said before. There's no one person in it all. Everybody's got their own strengths they can bring to the table, and just being able to utilize everybody's strengths is going to be very important in teaching as a group.
If you look like you're really into it, they're going to get more into it. And especially with kids, be goofy, tell jokes. They loved the cook because he was always telling jokes.
I would say go into the class expecting a new experience. It's not going to be like any of your other classes. You're going to have to work really hard, but you'll also get way more out of it than you have in other classes. And I can tell you that as someone who's moved on to grad school and further into dietetic.
When you're doing your lesson plans, just realize that those are probably subject to change and make them in a format so you can easily glance at them.
Make the effort to really get to know the kids on like a personal level.
And as people are coming in, I think this could work with any age. You're really engaging them not about Cookie Matters. You're engaging them about their day or their family or what sports they love to play or what they watch on TV, because you build that rapport and then you're going to have a much more fun time and they're going to listen to you and respect you, and it's a person-to-person relationship.
My general advice is to not be so, nervous or stressed going into it like I was, because in the end, the participants are there because they want to be there, so they're going to love you regardless. Just kind of have fun with it and, do the best you can.
Also, just remember why you're there. It's just to help the class participants. So don't lose sight. Don't try to focus too much on the lesson plan. If there's something else going on that the class members you think could benefit from that's relevant, just remember why you're there is to help the class participants.